Hey folks, want to jump on here and shoot a quick podcast episode. This is going to be about the Australian government. For those of you who are listening in other countries, hopefully you get some sort of insight into what is going on, how things work. I'll keep this as a business context as much as possible. I'd also like to add that I'm not an Australian citizen at the moment. So please feel free to correct me if is anything wrong or if I'm overstepping. Let's get into it. The Australian government, officially the Commonwealth Government, is the federal governing body of Australia. It operates under the Australian Constitution of 1901 and follows a federal parliamentary constitutional monarchy system. Structure of the Australian government: number one, the executive. Head of state: Charles III, represented in Australia by the Governor General of Australia. Head of government: the Prime Minister. The Prime Minister leads the cabinet and is usually the leader of the majority party in the House of Representatives. Current Prime Minister as of 2026, Anthony Albanese. One sec. Anthony Norman Albanese is an Australian politician who has served as the 31st Prime Minister of Australia since 2022. He has been the leader of the Labour Party since 2019 and the Member of Parliament for the New South Wales division of the Grenler since 1996. One moment, let me just figure this out. One sec. We'll continue. I think that's all good. Forgive me if there's any issues. The legislator. This is the Parliament. The federal Parliament is called the Parliament of Australia and has two houses: the House of Representatives, lower house, and the Senate, upper house. Parliament makes and changes federal laws. The judiciary, the highest court, is the High Court of Australia. It interprets the Constitution and settles legal disputes. Key features: federal system, power shared between federal and state governments, compulsory voting, regular federal elections, usually every 3 years, independent judiciary. In a business context, the Australian government plays a major role in regulation, taxation, trade, employment law, and economic policy. Here's a clear overview. Number one, business registration and regulation. Company registration: businesses are regulated by the Australian Securities and Investment Commission, ASIC. By the way, I'm not a financial advisor. This isn't advice. Register a company, obtain an Australian company number, ACN, enforce corporate laws under the Corporations Act. Business numbers: the Australian Business Register issues ABN, Australian Business Number. GST registration. Number two, taxation: the Australian Taxation Office, ATO, manages company tax, generally 25% for small/medium companies, 30% for larger. GST 10%, PAYG, withholding, superannuation compliance. Number three, employment and workplace laws. Regulated by Fair Work Commission, Fair Work Ombudsman. They oversee minimum wage awards and enterprise agreements, unfair dismissal, workplace rights. Number four, competition and consumer law. The Australian Competition and Consumer Commission, ACCC, enforces competition law, prevents anti-competitive conduct, protects consumers, regulates mergers and acquisitions. Number five, trade and investment. The Austrade supports export businesses, foreign investment, international expansion, trade agreements, business support and grants. The government offers R&D tax incentives, export market development grants, industry-specific grants, startup support programs. Number seven, economic policy impact. The government influences businesses through interest rate policy via the Reserve Bank of Australia, federal budget decisions, infrastructure spending, industry regulation, energy, mining, banking, etc. As of February 2026, the Australian government is led by the Australian Labor Party ALP, with Anthony Albanese serving as the 31st Prime Minister. We already talked about this. Following a landslide victory in the 2025 federal election, the Albanese government is currently in its second term. Here is an overview of the current political landscape and the structure of the Australian government. We've talked about most of this. Key leadership: February 2026, Prime Minister the Hon Anthony Albanese, MP Labour. Deputy Prime Minister the Hon Richard Marles, PM Labour. Governor General Her Excellency the Honourable Sam Mawson, AC, representing King Charles III. Leader of the Opposition the Hon Angus Taylor, MP Liberal Party. Recently elected following a leadership change in February 2026. Structure of government: Australia operates under a constitutional monarchy and representative democracy, often referred to as the, quote, Westminster system, end quote. It is divided into three distinct branches: branch, legislator, body, parliament, Senate and House of Representatives. I think I need to eat a snack soon or some food. Role: makes and amends laws. Executive: PM, Cabinet and Governor General puts laws into action and manages government departments. Judiciary: High Court and Federal Courts, interprets laws and settles legal disputes. The three levels of government: number one, federal, Commonwealth, responsible for national issues like defence, immigration, trade and currency. Number two, state/territory, responsible for hospitals, schools, police and roads. Number three, local councils, in brackets councils, responsible for local services like trash collection, parks and building permits. Current political climate: landslide majority. The Labour Party holds a strong majority in the House of Representatives, 94 seats, giving them significant legislative power. Recent opposition shifts: in February 2026, Angus Taylor replaced Susan Lee as the leader of the Liberal Party and the opposition. Third party surge: polling and recent election data shows a significant rise in support for minority parties and independents, particularly One Nation and the Greens, which has shifted their traditional two-party dynamic. Upcoming elections: the South Australian state election is scheduled for March 21, 2026. Fast facts: the Senate, often called the, quote, House of Review, end quote, where the government rarely holds a majority and must negotiate with minor parties like the Greens to pass laws. The capital, the seat of government, is located in Canberra, Australian Capital Territory, ACT. Hopefully I don't sound a bit slow there. I think we're all good. I know we're talking about the government. Let me search for the latest information on the Australian government technology initiatives for businesses. This is over on Claude. Here's an overview of what the Australian government is doing in the technology and business space right now. Artificial intelligence. The Australian government launched its national AI plan in December 2025, setting out a bold vision for harnessing AI to build a fairer, stronger Australia. The government is also establishing an Australian AI Safety Institute to respond to AI-related risks, and harms. Jeez, I really need to eat some food. Already 40% of Australian SMEs have embedded AI technology into their operations, and AI has become a core driver of competitiveness heading into 2026. Digital transformation. The Digital Transformation Agency, DTA, leads policy and investment oversight for government digital projects with AI, data capabilities, connected services, and cyber trust and resilience identified as core pillars of national digital transformation. Investment and funding. The Australian government is investing 15.1 billion in R&D, presuming AUD, in 2025-26, with more than half directed towards the higher education and business sectors, including through the R&D tax incentive program. A 1.7 billion Fortune Future Made in Australia Innovation Fund is also supporting deployment of innovative technologies, particularly in clean energy and advanced manufacturing. Key challenges for businesses, according to a KPMG report, the top challenges for Australian business leaders in 2025 were digital transformation and ROI, 53%, followed by cyber risks. This brings us on to 10 minutes. Here's a comprehensive overview of Australian government AI grants available to businesses. AI Adopt program. The program offers grants between 3 million and 5 million over 4 years, covering up to 50% of eligible project expenditure. It is aimed at businesses that can establish AI Adopt centers to help Australian SMEs integrate AI technologies responsibly. The current round is closed, but future rounds may reopen, worth keeping an eye on. Regional AI grant, quote, catalyzing AI in our regions, end quote. This program provides grants from 250,000 to 500,000 for regional industries, businesses, and communities partnering to deliver projects using AI technologies. It supports real-world AI applications that address challenges in regional areas of Australia. R&D tax incentive around 950 million AUD has been registered by businesses for AI-related activities under the R&D tax incentive program across the 2022-23 and 2023-24 income years. Maybe this is in the past. This is one of the most accessible mechanisms for businesses investing in AI research and development. CRC AI Accelerator New, the National AI Plan, launched a AI Accelerator funding round of the Cooperative Research Centres CRCA program, designed to turn innovative ideas from local businesses and researchers into real-world AI solutions. Total funding committed more than $460 million is already available or committed across I don't think this is me. Total funding committed more than 460 million is already available or committed across research grants, graduate programs, ecosystem building, and SME adoption of AI. Fascinating. Nearly 15 minutes. One thing or key thing to know about the Australian government is that it is a federal parliamentary constitutional monarchy. This means the Prime Minister and the Cabinet are drawn from the Excuse me, I'm fasting today, so I'm a little bit slow. Drawn from the legislature, Parliament, and must maintain its competence. Constitutional, its powers are defined by the Australian Constitution 1901. A first for everything, with me sort of stumbling a bit today, but we'll get this done. Hopefully it sounds great. Monarchy, the King Charles III is head of state, represented in Australia by the Governor General. In simple terms, Australia combines a monarchy with a democratically elected parliament, and the government's power is legally limited by the Constitution. For businesses, the most important thing to know about the Australian government is that it regulates commerce and taxation through federal agencies, which you must comply with to operate legally and successfully. Key points: registration and legal compliance. Companies must register with the Australian Securities and Investments Commission ASIC and get an Australian business number, ABN. Taxes. The Australian Taxation Office, ATO, collects corporate tax, GST and payroll obligations, employment and workplace laws. Businesses must follow rules enforced by the Fair Work Commission and Fair Work Ombudsman, covering wages, conditions and employee rights. Commissioner and competition laws. The Australian Competition and Consumer Commission, ACCC, ensures fair trading and prevents anti-competitive practices. Bottom line, if you comply with these regulations, you can operate smoothly and take advantage of government grants, incentives and support for businesses. I think that's us on 15 minutes here. The Australian government sets the rules for businesses through taxation, registration and workplace consumer laws, which every company must follow to operate legally. There's a few things there. There's one thing about the Australian government, about business, and then a one-liner. Thanks for listening, folks. Have a great rest of your day.